The form this guy has been in of late is something incredible.
Enzo Fernandez, how pleased were you with his performance? Obviously, he was one of the players that went away, quite a long way on international duty. How pleased were you with him?
He's even drawing praise from the other Enzo in the team, his manager. The thing is, guys, on a deeper level, Enzo Fernandez's form becomes even more impressive when you consider that he's had to come from not one, but two major setbacks that could have ruined his career at the club, and is benefiting from a manager who is ready to get the best out of him. With Enzo Fernandez, there's no questioning his talent. Since he delivered 3 assists in the 8-0 win versus Noah in the European Conference League, he's bagged a goal contribution in every game, minus the 0-0 draw with Peru for both club and country. The man is in red-hot form, but the thing is, this shouldn't come as anything new. Just going back a bit to the 2022 World Cup, Enzo Fernandez was a revelation in the competition. The best young player of the tournament helped Argentina win the World Cup for the first time since 1986, and just a few weeks later became the subject of a mega transfer bid. The deal was complicated, but in the end, and £106.8 million later, Enzo Fernandez finally became a Chelsea player. A then British record fee at the time, but also one that many believed would eventually pay off. However, his arrival at the club coincided with a time when Chelsea was struggling to get an identity. They had so many transfers, it just felt like, despite the money they paid for him, Enzo Fernandez was just another name on the list. Fast forward to the present season now, because that's the Enzo we want to look at, and at the start of it, he was in a difficult situation. When new coach Enzo Maresca arrived, he soon realised that the pairing of Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo in midfield for some strange reason wasn't working. Then he opted for Romeo Lavia and Moises Caicedo in midfield, and this change started producing results.
He's not playing in this moment. We have so many games. He's going to play for sure in the future. Now he's not playing. That means that he's not going to play tomorrow in 2 days. And that means that Romeo and Moi, they are always going to play, because in the moment that some of them drop.
These were Enzo Maresca's words after he picked Moises Caicedo and Romeo Lavia as his pivot options in midfield at the start of the season. According to Maresca, they offered the balance he needed in the team, while also giving them a physical edge in midfield. If you're Enzo Fernandez listening to this, it would have been a subtle reminder at the time that things could change very quickly, because what he was facing was a situation where he'd quickly moved from being the club's record signing to almost being phased out of the team. So how has Enzo Fernandez managed to change this? How has he forced his way back into the Chelsea team now? Well, for starters, I've got to go back to something he said about himself in his earlier days at Chelsea.
Enzo Fernandez, 22 años, argentino. Técnico, buena visión de juego, buen pase y buena pegada. Y la verdad que pasaron muchas cosas muy bonitas en mi vida y bueno, estoy feliz por esta oportunidad que me ha dado Chelsea y daré todo lo mejor de mí para poder conseguir todos los objetivos del club.
Listen to how he describes himself as a player with good technical, vision and an eye for goal. And this, guys, is what has so far been giving Enzo Fernandez the edge in the current Chelsea team. If you look at the balance both Romeo Lavia and Moises Caicedo bring to the table for Chelsea, while this is good, none of them exactly scream goals from midfield or end product. Enzo Fernandez in recent games, however, has been a gift that has kept on giving. This strike at White Hart Lane is in line with recent ones, with 10 goal contributions this season, if you exclude Cole Palmer, who should qualify as an attacking player. From that midfield trio of Enzo Fernandez, Romeo Lavia and Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez is clear in terms of bagging goal contributions from midfield.
I still trust Enzo. There is not any reason in the world that I can lose confidence on him. The reason why he's not playing in the Premier League.
Seems like Enzo Maresca is indeed a fair man. He started here that he trusts Enzo Fernandez, and now Enzo Fernandez has improved his game and is dropping impressive stats. He's been rewarded with starts in various competitions. Going back to one of Enzo Maresca's earlier statements, he made it clear that he believed so much in Enzo Fernandez's talents, and he wanted him arriving in the box, in the positions he's been taking up, a lot more, and credit to the man, he's doing just what his manager has asked. But positions in the starting lineup haven't been the only thing Enzo Fernandez has been fighting for. He'd also been fighting to regain the trust of his teammates after a pretty ugly incident that involved him with the national team.
This is the moment an Argentinian footballer sang a chant that led to fellow footballers calling him out for racism.
This chant here, well, it nearly ruined Enzo Fernandez's time at Chelsea. In this context, it was right after Argentina won the 2024 Copa America. In the mood to celebrate with his fans, Enzo Fernandez went on Instagram Live, where he and the rest of his teammates were heard singing a song that has slur words with French players of black descent. The chant mocks black players who have African roots but chose to play for France. It's already a huge red flag for Enzo Fernandez doing this, but it got even worse, because not only was he one of the captains at Chelsea, but he also had French teammates who fell victim to the words he and his Argentines were singing. Teammates like Wesley Fofana, Axel Disasi, Malo Gusto, and Leslie Ugochukwu are all French players of African descent. Enzo Fernandez had provoked them, and it was even reported that Wesley Fofana unfollowed him after both he and Axel Disasi openly slammed what they'd seen on Fernandez's live. You get the idea, the case had heated up.
No, it's obviously a really difficult situation. I think Enzo, acknowledged he'd done wrong and quickly, put his hand up and apologised to, the club, the team, and the people offended. He hasn't arrived yet, so I don't know if there's, anything to amend. I'll have to, make that judgment when he comes back in, but I hope, everyone will be on the same page and, can kind of move forward from the situation. Yeah, I've spoken to Enzo and everyone kind of involved, but the conversations kind of have to stay in-house.
Even Chelsea captain Reece James couldn't deny it was a situation. On his part, Enzo Fernandez now fully understood the severity of his actions, and in the same way he publicly started all of it, he was ready to end it.
Make that judgment when he comes back in, but I hope everyone will be on the same page and can kind of move forward from the situation.
He did apologise, and while the tension simmered down right after, it was clear that in the moment and going forward, Enzo Fernandez had placed himself in a difficult situation. Suddenly, he was up against it. He was fighting to regain the trust of his teammates, while at the same time fighting for a place in the team. It took away from the fact that he had a more than decent Copa America outing with Argentina. Almost everyone forgot about it. He even assisted in the 2-0 win versus Canada in the semi-finals. In all of this, there was still the fact that Enzo Fernandez was a proper player Chelsea still wanted in their ranks. Still, the season started. He managed to beat this, and now his focus was on the current season. And once again, Enzo became the centre of controversy outside the game that this time threatened to disbalance his personal life. For an extended period, she'd played a key part in his life, made the move from Benfica to Chelsea with him, and even celebrated with him as Argentina won the World Cup and the Copa America. But the rumours emerged months back that while Enzo Fernandez was battling for a place in Enzo Maresca's starting lineup, he was also battling a divorce case, and pretty soon those rumours came true. He divorced his childhood sweetheart, and while the reason remains speculative, some guessed it was down to him wanting to focus on his career. Some believed it was him wanting space to explore on his own. But it didn't matter the reasons. The fact was he'd done it. And on the aspect of doing stuff, if you still haven't subscribed to Football Historia by now, you can do it by hitting that subscribe button on the screen now. It's that easy. So in the space of just 4 months, Enzo Fernandez had to battle a storm. From that Instagram post to fighting for his teammates' trust, a divorce, and a place on the team, but so far his performances have been proving he's winning, and so the idea is to focus on that aspect of Enzo Fernandez this season. Enzo the footballer.
Very interesting topics here on Extra Time. Next question, Mario. Which player in the Premier League has the most to prove this season? Rashford, Grealish, Enzo, or Nunez?
That's a tough one, isn't it?
That's a difficult one. Rashford was the difficulty playing against himself. Grealish is the competition. That build, you know, that got him a little bit back. Enzo, I mean, if I have, I probably else. Look, I probably will pick Enzo. But I don't think that his season was that great as well at Chelsea because the team wasn't that great. So I don't think but if I have to pick anyone in the four, then I will pick him because Nunez.
It seems like Enzo Fernandez himself watched this interview because so far this season, he's been playing like a man who's got a lot to prove. Because of the position he plays, midfield that is, it'll be wrong to completely judge him based on stats, but that doesn't mean we'd then overlook some impressive numbers he's been putting up this season. In terms of his goal contribution per game, this is his best season since he came to Europe in 2022-23 and started at Benfica. But it goes beyond that. For a midfielder, you expect the metric to be passes, successful passes, key passes, assists and tackles. In these categories and more, the Argentine has been equally as impressive. His 557 passes rank him in the 88th percentile for passes completed in the league, and 472 passes rank him in the 85th percentile. But the biggest one has to be the key passes. He dropped 21 key passes this season, averaging 2.15 key passes per 90. What this means if you're a Chelsea fan or Enzo Maresca watching this is that when Enzo Fernandez plays, apart from the neat passes across the park, he can also guarantee a ball that leads to a scoring opportunity for the team. He's also managed 28 tackles this season, 2.86 tackles per 90, in the 88th percentile in that category in the league. If we look at the numbers, while he doesn't quite bring the same physicality as Romeo Lavia or Moises Caicedo would when he plays in midfield, Enzo Fernandez offers something different to Chelsea, and that's what sets him above the rest. You see guys, it seems like due to the price tag Chelsea got for him, which is a lot I must add, Enzo Fernandez was playing with a chip on his shoulder for Chelsea, loads of pressure. It also seems like he had to change his game too, like he was trying to adapt to the team and wanted the manager to like him.
I think he's a fantastic talent. I think a young player to have achieved what he's achieved in this calendar year or footballing year has been amazing. To be part of a World Cup winning team and to earn himself a move to the Premier League and a club like Chelsea. And I agree, maybe it's a difficult moment to come to the club. He's been here now, for a few months, and it's been a difficult time, which will be a challenge for him. But at the same time, I think it's a challenge that will make him better.
I think he's improving a lot, and that is why now we can see him building from back and also arriving and scoring goals like Palace in the last minute. After 90 minutes, if you can see, I think it was 70 or 60 meters. It's a signal that he's improving a lot. His capacity to move on the pitch, and always it's about time, because from the beginning always was more. Or in the season before that we arrived was more static, playing more in a position and not to cover space. But he's a player with the capacity, like you say, here in England, box to box. He has the capacity to play like box to box. He has the capacity to score goals because of the technique that he has, and of course to build from back and help the team, to try to clean the ball when we need, when the opponent go to press.
It's like it worked because they did like him, but that just goes to prove how much of a difference Enzo Maresca has made to Enzo Fernandez. It's full of praise from the 3 Chelsea managers who Enzo Fernandez had played under. It's almost as if, because of the price tag, despite the lapses they saw in his game or how it wasn't quite fitting with the way they wanted to play, they almost felt obliged to play him. Now don't get me wrong, you don't expect any manager to openly come out and criticise or attack one of his players, but it was hard to find constructive criticism of Enzo's game, or the manager speaking about what he needed to do more. Enter Enzo Maresca, and it's all changed. When Enzo Maresca decided to drop him, it was only after 2 games that people began to think there was an issue. But with Enzo Maresca, his philosophy remained the same.
They train every day to get minutes, and at the end, only 11 they are going to play. Some of them they gonna play some minutes from the bench, but it's almost impossible to keep all of them happy. The only thing I can say is the same thing I said your colleague, that I try always to be honest with all of them. In this moment, probably the noise is more outside because I'm working with 21, 22 players in the last since we are back from USA. I'm not working with 42 or 43 players, but I already said many times, but I can see that you like to say that we have 42, 43 players, but more than 15 players, they are training apart, they are not with the team.
He'd not only identified the players he wanted to work with, but he'd also given the team a clear ultimatum. To play for his Chelsea team, they had to work, run, fit into the team, train hard, and give his team a balance. It applied to everyone, irrespective of the price tag. Now, under Enzo Maresca, he's shining. Under Enzo Maresca this season, Enzo Fernandez has played the pass before the pass more times than anyone else, not just in the Chelsea team, but in the league. If you look at his switches of play, he's attempted this 10 times and it's come off 10 times. I'm just stating this to drive home the point that now, Enzo has almost become the complete package at Chelsea. Another big aspect of his game is this. In between the lines, receiving the ball, Spurs struggle to handle him. Whether it's with his back to goal or facing the opposition now, he just looks a lot more comfortable on the ball. And all of this only adds to the growing list of positives with Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea.
Like it's a long time coming.
I'm very happy for the team, for the win, most important. I'm very happy for Nico, for goal Nico, assist. Keep going, keep work. Keep pushing.
Well, yeah, because
the interview might have been short, but we can still take a lot from this. That performance was in the match against Leicester, where Enzo put in a stellar performance. He captained the team, got a goal and an assist, and was named man of the match. The reason that interview got pulled up, however, was to highlight the changes in him already. He's attempting to speak English to communicate better with the rest of his teammates. He's more mature now. You see it in the way he plays, acts, and communicates on the pitch. In general, he plays like he loves the club and wants to have a sustained future there. He signed a 9-year deal when he joined in 2023, so unless something bizarre happens or the club decides to sell him, the club can expect to see the best years of Enzo Fernandez ahead. From his performances for both Benfica and Argentina, even before he came to Chelsea, it's clear he's got a bright future ahead, and it's all down to how hard he works. The verdict then? Enzo Fernandez in the 2024-25 season plays like a man. He's mature now, owned up to his mistakes, is fighting for a place in the team with his performances, and looks much better than the player Chelsea got from Benfica last year. It can only get better with Enzo Fernandez, and he knows this too. If he can keep up the current level he's showing for the team, there's no telling what he can achieve at the club. You wouldn't even put it past him to become a future captain for the Argentine national team someday. It could happen. For all it's worth, Enzo Fernandez is a player, a very talented one at that. What we just saw early on was a guy who ultimately became a victim of the price tag placed on him, and in turn, he tried to become a version of a player different from what the club signed, just so he could fit in. Now we're seeing the Enzo Fernandez we expected to see kick on after that initial World Cup stint, and it's a joy to watch. Enzo Fernandez has become part of a Chelsea team that's punching way beyond what they were expected to this season and making waves in Europe in the process. Given the 7th place finish they had last season, a lot of people would have written Chelsea off as, at best, fighting for a place in Europe. But now, even though Enzo Maresca doesn't want to admit it, they're in a title conversation with their current form. It's all down to Maresca's game plan. The new Chelsea game plan is scary for the opposition, and you can find out about it by hitting the next video.